everybody, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero here with another Full Charge Thursday. Now this is going to be an interesting one, as you might have seen with the intro clip. So I have had the Tesla wall connector since about November of 2021. I got the Tesla Model 3 in June of 2021. And then I had in my house the Tesla wall connector installed. I will link the video to that, the link to the original video in the description, and you'll also see it at the end of this video. But what I do want to have now is a little discussion of what happened recently. So very recently, what started happening was I plugged the car in at night. It's fine to sit overnight because you can set it to a very specific point. I set it to a max charge of 80%, so it doesn't go above that. And then in the morning, I set a scheduled departure for preconditioning, it's called. So basically, I leave at about 7:30 in the morning for work. So I have it set so that the car is preconditioned, meaning the battery is warmed. The car cabin is either warmed or cooled, depending on the temperature and the time of the year. So that is ready to go at the exact temperature I set, which is 68 degrees in the car at 7:30 a.m. Now what's been happening recently? I plugged the car into charge the night before. It charges, I get the charge complete notification in the app, and everything looks fine. I wake up the next morning. There's a little warning that is in the app saying charging stopped. And the cable normally is green for charge, is blue meaning no charge. That means it's detected a connection and it is stopped or blocked the charging. Now I did look in the service mode. There is a very specific service mode for the Tesla Model 3. So I did look in there, and it gave the warning of charging blocked because of a malfunction of the connected charging equipment known as the electric vehicle EVSE, I think it was what it was called. I'll put that on the screen. But there was an issue with that. And that happened a couple of nights in a row, so I decided to reach out to Tesla support, specifically with the wall connector. With the wall connector, they have their own wall connector team and a wall connector specialist. So back and forth, we did some troubleshooting. They said sometimes you need to reset the app password because then that will get rid of any kind of keys that maybe the electric company has or any third-party apps like Tessie have, and that could cause an issue. So we tried things like that. I still have, because when I got mine, it came with the mobile connector. I didn't buy that separate. So then we tried plugging in with the mobile connector, also on a 240 volt outlet. That charged fine. And I tried that for 3 days in a row. I had no issues. After the 3 days in a row, then I changed back to the wall connector, and the issue occurred again. And basically on the car's charge port, it goes red, saying there is a fault somewhere. And then you get the error in the car's service mode that gives you that little bit more information. So I talked through the Tesla wall connector support. They were very nice and very helpful. Some things I didn't even think of. And then at the end, they decided, although we don't see any specific errors coming off the wall connector, we are going to replace your wall connector. And that's what I have here. It looks like a box of a brand new wall connector. And it says it came from the Tesla Service Parts Distribution Center. So it looks like that this is a brand new wall connector that they shipped me. And essentially what they want me to do is have it swapped out. And then they want to use they can use the same box. They said put the old one in it. They provided me a return label, so I'll get that shipped. So that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to swap the wall connectors with the new one here, and we'll see if that fixes the issue. All right, so let's slash her open. If I can. There we go. Now the other video I had did have an unboxing video part of it. It did not have an install because the electrician Scott, that was my dad's friend, he actually was very quick and got this installed before he even got home. So inside here still has the exact same message that you've seen in the clip. Thank you for accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Here is the wall connector, and this definitely does look brand new. So this we will get installed, and I'll show you on the inside what it looks like. Not this, on the inside of the wall piece. My first gut reaction with this is the cabling feels ever so slightly different, but it might just be because it's brand new versus 2.5 years old. The existing one, yes, it does feel a little bit different, but again, I can't tell if it's just because this is worn in or if they actually changed the material that the cable is made out of. Alright, step one is upstream power. We have Tesla charger, these two, and off. Alright, I can see there are no lights here, so that means this unit is de-energized. So I will take the cabling coil out. This is a flexible conduit that goes up to where it was installed. Just because I mounted this on a pedestal, Scott the electrician decided to put this with a flexible conduit. So we have that. And this is a nut that screws right in there, so I'll remove that. Take this off, and then that should allow this. Oh, there's also a hex key up top there. So that will allow this whole front plate to come out, allowing access to the back plate, which actually is where the wires are connected to. So this is what I was talking about. This is the nut right here that will unscrew and that will allow the conduit to move. Right there is an Allen key screw. There's another Allen key screw there. Once those three come off, then this will allow the front panel here to pop right off. I almost forgot, there's actually 2 more screws at the bottom there, so 4 screws total. Alright, so here's the inside here. So these wires should be routed through here and actually come up through the bottom. So I'm just going to flip those around, that they're going to all come through here, and then that'll zip tie in place back there. But there's one other thing I noticed. Inside here, this is like a foam material, that's the gasket. This is different than the new one. The new one down here actually has a rubber gasket. Instead of that foam insert, it's all rubberized. So maybe they had complaints that it was leaking. This looks like a much better water seal because these can be used outdoors. So this looks much better than the other one. And yes, this material is definitely different. Warning, warning, warning. Do this next part with a licensed electrician. Otherwise, I assume no responsibility and you do this at your own risk. Alright, next, just to show you how this works. So we have 0 AC volts right now. So we have a positive and a negative. So, black's going to be the ground. Red is going to be the positive. And when we touch these two together, we get 119 volts. So that means that works. So next, we're going to do the white wire to ground. So we did the black wire, which down here, it shows everything. So that was L1 to ground was 119. Now we're doing L2 to ground, and I'm getting 121. So that's good. And then for the faster charging part, we're going to do L1 to L2, and I'm getting 240 volts. So that means the lines in the breaker coming into here are perfectly fine. And just to make you aware, I did not disassemble it when it was energized. I turned the breaker off and then pulled it apart and then turned the breaker back on. So now I'm going to go back into here, turn the breaker back off to verify there's no energy going to there, and then we're going to start disassembling it. Tesla breaker off one more time. Alright, to show again, 0 volts. We're not connected. Once I touch these together, touching those together to verify, also 0 volts. So that means this is set up correctly. So now we're going to do ground to L2. 1 volt. So maybe there's a little bit going through, but that's not anything to worry about. So now we're going to do what was it? That was L2 to ground, L1 to ground. Now, also shows 1 volt, so no red light there means nothing to worry about. And the last thing we're going to do is L1 to L2, which is the big voltage one, and that's showing 0 volts. So that means this is de-energized and I can start disassembling this. Alright, quick progress update. I have drilled in and leveled the new base plate. So I'm about to connect the wires back through here, and then I'll give you an update. Okay, so I have all of the conductors cinched down to what it says, 50 inch-pounds. All of those are routed the exact way the Tesla manual says to for a top insertion. So the conduit is coming in from the top. I have that all cinched down. I was able to straighten it also just a little bit. So it looks a little bit better, and I'd say that it looks a little bit neater than originally it was. So that looks good. So now let's go turn on the breaker and see what happens. Okay, so I turned the breaker on. So this is all live right now, and nothing blew up. But I was pretty confident because all this is torqued properly, all this is installed properly. So now let's begin to test it. So I have my field tester here. So we're going to test a couple of things. First, we're going to test the ground and L2 right there. So that is giving me 121 volts, and it's pretty consistent there. And when I pull it away, there we go. So that is correct. So that is the neutral, or L2 to ground. Next, we're going to go L1 and ground. We're going to poke those in there. And then we're getting 119. And a steady 119. And then when I pull away, it's back to 0. So that is pretty much the same value we were getting before. So we were getting, with these two, so we were getting L2 to ground of 121. Then we were getting L1 to ground of 119. And then the last one is L1 to L2. Make sure they're touching. There we go. And there we are getting a steady, looks like 241 volt, so which is exactly what it should be. And that is the voltage that the car charges at. All right, the last thing we're going to test is ground resistance. So when I touch the 2 electrodes there, as long as I make proper contact, there we go, we are getting 1 and 0. So again, on the tester, this is 0 to 0.1. It is not 1 ohm, so that's good there. So we are going to test that with each of these. So we're going to put black in the ground, and then we are going to put the red in each of those. So we're going to do on, if I get a grip, there we go. So there we are getting 0, so that's good. So next we're going to do the ground to L1. We are getting 0 as well, so that means that this is all properly grounded as well. All right, so we tested all that back there. So now I'm going back to the breaker to turn the breaker back off so that I can install the faceplate. That's the main actual wall connector. All right, just to make doubly sure, I have opened up the breaker again. Everything looks the same, which is always a good sign. So that is our Tesla connector. So right there, you follow that round. That ground goes all the way down through here. Just move that a little over there. Cool. So that ground, just because I didn't want it to touch the frame, I don't know if that matters, but I just moved it around. That comes into here and right into there. There we go. That's the wire. I tug it, it doesn't move. It looks like it is still cinched down properly. So that is always a good sign. And that is the one that goes up to there, up through there, and in through the black wire there, which is the Tesla charger. So at least from in here, everything still looks good. Okay, everything is good on this end. I have the new Tesla charger or connector right there. So we are going to get that clicked in place like this. And there we go. It is clicked in. All the bolts and the screws are in place. I didn't fully unravel everything. I just took the handle out of the packaging because now I have to turn this on and energize it to make sure it works for the first time and then commission it, meaning connect it to Wi-Fi. All right, turn it on. Look good? Yeah. Full 60 amps. And they are working. Wall connector is supplying power and car is charging. Now for the only plastic peel of the whole thing. All right, so it looks like everything's good. Tesla wall connector is swapped out. It's a little bit neater that I was able to organize the conduit going into the Tesla wall connector. I just have the cable kind of rounded up right now. Just gotta get that mounted on. Let me show you real quick. All right, cable's coiled. The Tesla wall connector's got a solid green light, meaning ready. Looks pretty good. The conduit here is a little bit shorter. I think I just want to kind of anchor it right about there. So you kind of see this going straight up and down, which does get, but I want it to be able to be removed. So it gives a little bit of flex to here, but I do kind of like the way that looks better. And inside it was much neater. All right, so now I'm gonna plug the Tesla in. I have the preconditioning set for tomorrow morning. So we will reconvene in about 12 hours, maybe 11 hours from now, just to see if this replacement worked. Okay, so something interesting. So this is the active alert, unable to charge, but here, unable to charge 7:51 a.m., 7:50, USB device malfunction. Unable to charge, USB device malfunction. Unable to charge, USB device malfunction. There's always a USB device malfunction and an unable to charge at the same time, and it looks like it's attempted it multiple times. So, I'm going to try this. Down in here, I do have a USB drive. It might have failed. So we'll see if that is causing this weird issue. So then down in here, since this is the 2020, it's not updated. This has two USB-A ports. One of these USB-A ports goes up to where I keep the phone charger, which the phone would sit in there. The other USB-A port right here, I have this drive plugged into. Now this drive is old. It's a 500 gigabyte Samsung T3. I think they're on the T7 now. This drive may have failed. I don't know if this would cause an issue, but just from everything it looks like, this could be a software issue. So I'm going to unplug this now, and then we'll see if it fixes it.